Welcome back. Let's get into this market picture now. And certainly this morning was quite interesting enough. Yoshihide Suga of Japan finally being named effectively in the lower eight of parliament in Japan to be the prime minister. Takes over then from Shinzo Abe after 8 years, who of course did step down, what was it, last month or so as well, announcing his resignation then as prime minister of Japan. So the Nikkei out in Japan did manage a gain, even though it is only slight on that front, 0.1% to the good, more than 20 points higher for the Nikkei, but it was a generally negative tinge by the close of trade across most of Asia, 0.33% down for the Shanghai Composite out in China as well then, with the Hang Seng and Hong Kong slipping, but only just. Negativity then across Europe as well. Then it seems like perhaps a bit of profit taking coming back into the market, having seen some gains as well over the last couple of days. Down 0.2% to the FTSE 100 index in this lunchtime trade. It is the biggest loser thus far, should I say. While the DAX in Germany and the CAC 40 out in France have both pretty much maintained a flat stance with a slightly negative bias on that front. That negative bias has filtered through into the local market. We're 0.25% down and below 56,000 points, unfortunately, for the JSE today. Perhaps a few worries as well as to what will come out of President Cyril Ramaphosa's address later this evening when it comes to the economic recovery. Investors perhaps deciding to hold back ever so slightly and perhaps see if this plan is credible, if this plan can actually be put into place, whether there is any sort of manner of creating responsibility and accountability within the party to ensure that this does not just filter through and stay within the ANC or perhaps just the presidency, but certainly across the board as well. So we'll certainly see if that will spark any sense of positivity. The only big gainers today are the resource counters, so those mining shares enjoying some sort of positivity there, going up nearly 0.5%. But overall though, financials, big losers, 0.8% in this lunchtime trade. Industrials going down more than 0.5% as well, with the banking counters 0.75% weaker. Listed property, that's gone up, but only so slightly. Overall on the shares that have certainly gone higher than in this afternoon trade, Cap and Brait all going up as well. Big gains as well for Motus, which has gone up 17.7%, 38 Rand and 50 cents a share on that front, perhaps still enticing for some. PPC has gone down almost 10% in this trade. It is at 5 cents a share though, an absolute walloping, unfortunately, for that share price. Of course, that rights issue as well that they've certainly decided to go into the construction industry itself has certainly gotten quite a hammering, and PPC are joining in that mix. Lewis as well, the furniture retailer, has gone down 5.7%, sitting at 16 Rand and 59 cents a share there, with RCL as well in the fast-moving consumer goods space also dropping down more than 5.6%. Onto the commodities board then, big gains as well for the Brent crude price on that front. Of course, Hurricane Sally out in the Gulf as well of Mexico and in the United States, indeed making landfall very soon as well out in the areas of around Florida as well out in the United States, does mean that rigs, around 25% of the oil shale rigs as well out in the United States, have had to shut down, unfortunately, which means then you have less supply in the market. If less supply sits in the market, the price certainly does go higher, and that is exactly what you're seeing there. More than 2% gain for the Brent crude price, $41.43 a barrel at present, and does seem to be continuously rising. Also another good day as well for that gold price, even if it is only just slightly 0.5% to the good there, 1,964 should I say over there. Red, unfortunately though, for platinum. The demand picture not coming through as one would have hoped there. It's 0.8% weaker at present. Strength still for South Africa's currency. So perhaps there is some light at the end of the tunnel so far. We are, of course, as well headed into that interest rates decision by the South African Reserve Bank, which does happen tomorrow. We'll have that for you live here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange as we unpack exactly what the Reserve Bank governor and his compatriots as well there of the Monetary Policy Committee decide to do with interest rates. Another 25 basis point cut is possible, but whether they will indeed get trigger happy and continue on that cutting cycle because of the pandemic is yet to be seen. So 16 Rand 28 against the US dollar. The Rand has thus far improved more than 3% this month alone. As well, which has certainly been some good news. These two, in fact, the Brent crude price going down as well as South Africa's Rand strengthening, will mean we could see as much as 36 cents drop in the fuel price next month, and even 88 cents drop in the diesel price as well then for next month. We'll certainly see how things fare. Of course, it is still early days. With regards to the euro, we're at 19.32, and a British pound will set you back 21 Rand and 11 cents. Michael Traherne from Vestac Asset Management joins us live now as we get to unpack this market picture a little bit. Let's get straight into that oil story then as well, Michael. It's a good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Back above $41 a barrel. It is primarily because of Hurricane Sally, I would presume. But can the oil price just stay above $40 a barrel? It's lost 10% this month alone.
Yes, Billy, great to chat to you today. I think as consumers, we would hope that the oil price drops, not goes up. And as you say, it's mostly because of all those hurricanes currently sitting in the Atlantic at the moment. That should pass through over the next couple of days, and we'll have to see what damage has been left behind and how that disrupts supply. But going forward, this evening is a crude inventory levels from the US, which will drive prices for the next week. And then we need to see what global economic data comes out. So yesterday, China showed that they had strong retail sales and industrial sales, and both of those bode well for oil usage. So that's been part of the reason for the momentum. But overall, if you have a look at OPEC's production levels, it's not what it used to be. And you get the feeling that as prices go up, they'll increase production as well. So I wouldn't expect oil to get close to 50 in the near term.
Yeah, one would look at the rand and think perhaps we're expecting some good news of sorts when the president speaks later this evening. Plus, you have that MPC decision, which perhaps could be coming through tomorrow, where maybe a cut of 25 basis points is possible. What do you expect this evening, and what are you expecting tomorrow?
Yes, so this evening, I think the main expectation is further reduction in restrictions. Hopefully it means that we get international borders open and we can get our tourism sector back on track. Obviously, having people come into South Africa buying rands is good for the economy, it's good for our country, and good for our currency. So let's see what happens on that front. In terms of tomorrow, my heart says that we're going to get a rate cut. Unfortunately, my head says that we probably won't. Let's see what happens. It's definitely what you would call a live meeting, meaning that it's something could happen. In many cases, you go into these MPC meetings not expecting much to happen. So let's see what the governor has to say. And even if we don't get a rate cut, we need to have a look at what their forecasts are and what is the Reserve Bank expecting, and then that can readjust our expectations for the future. But I think we're still due for another rate cut, at least one before the end of the year. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll certainly see what happens on that front. One prediction that will certainly be very important as well is what the presidency and government thinks with regards to our growth rate. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni has already said it could be worse than the 7% that he had predicted as well a little bit earlier on with regards to the second or supplementary budget that they had put together as well. So we'll see how things fare there. Some equity news then, Michael Traherne. Discovery coming out with a set of earnings over there. 97% drop in their profit picture. That's a complete wipeout.
Sure. Yeah, they've been hit quite hard with COVID. The stock's down 3% and a bit today, so it shows that markets are disappointed. In Discovery's defense, they did come out with a trading statement recently, and their numbers landed in the middle of the range that they gave investors. So we knew it was coming. Big hits, though, they attribute most of it to COVID and new business development. So you have a look at the banks, they said that they're just shy of 500,000 customers. That's pretty good going. But they're saying it's costing them R1 billion a year at the moment in terms of new innovation, in terms of operating costs to keep the bank going while they're growing. So that's not great. And what really hits them as a long-term insurer, low interest rates are terrible for their business. Effectively, they take money in terms of premiums. That's for life insurance and for the likes of your health insurance, and they generally leave it in money-bearing or interest-bearing accounts. So when you're in this zero interest rate environment, or in Europe where there's negative interest rates, it's really, really bad for long-term profits, and that's one of the main reasons why they're struggling at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep it short. Let's keep it to the point, and that is definitely it. Michael, appreciate the time. Always good chatting to you here on SABC News. Then, as we unpack that market picture, Michael Traherne is from Vestact Asset Management. We do have more economic news out for you. Of course, retail sales numbers having come out. South Africa's manufacturing sector continues to be in the doldrums, and we'll continue to share some other news as well, having come out a little bit earlier today. All of that after this. Stay tuned.